gradient of this where it starts at blue and it goes to white.
Oh, nice.
I mean, clear. Actually, I started it on this one, but then the filament got snagged. So it was stupidly early in the morning, and for some stupid reason, I killed the print instead of letting it still continue. But this is the effect I'm going after, and I'll explain it on stream. It's actually really cool.
Well, technically, where you're on stream, where it's the live button.
Whatever. I don't care. I'll explain it more in depth later.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and continue telling us about your gradient.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. I was getting chat called up.
1, 2. Okay.
Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. Sorry about the lighting, guys. I'm still figuring out lighting in here, but me and Ashley from Chip Builds are kind of sort of collaborating on a project. She's big into tabletop gaming and knows that there's a good market in that. So what we're doing is we found this file on Thingiverse that the licensing allows you to do whatever the crap you want with it, which is nice. But it holds the D20 dice, and you put magnets in the holes right there. So the idea I had with the A10M is, well, we've got the mixing function, and normally I don't use that for print. So let me come up with a unique way to use it. So what I've done is I've set it up so that the lid is the solid color. And the idea is the top, you could say, third of the model when it's assembled is also a solid color. So the idea is you can kind of get this unique gradient effect going on, which actually looks pretty cool. Or the other thing you could do is if the bottom was white, you could always have like a white lid. So you can kind of customize the look for the gradient. But this is the effect I was going for, was the bottom was solid blue, and then the top was going to be solid white or clear in this case. So you could get kind of, here, I'll hold it up sideways. So you guys kind of get this really cool dark to mix to light going on with it. But the problem is the filament was kind of snagged and it was doing fine. I really should have just left it going, but stupid me at like 2 in the morning is like, I don't like the sound of that. So I killed it stupidly. So if I'm jumping on and off stream a little bit, it's because I'm running in the other room and running into the closet to check up on the printer to make sure it's actually mixing. Because I've been having I love the mixing function on the A10M. It's just sometimes using the built-in function to do it can be a little bit frustrating. So yeah, but I did see that Marlin, I need to talk to Chris and find out if it's actually become a thing or not. But I guess Marlin's working on making it so there's an actual M code function that you can type, that you can embed into your program's G code, that you could probably even import it into the stock into like the starting script, and you can tell at the start and end points of your mix and the transitioning. So theoretically, it does all the mixing in the code, and you don't have to worry about anything going wrong in terms of, oops, did I set my settings right? But if you get it done right, the effect is darn cool. So it's a fun project we're working on right now.
Mr. Carol Science is right. If you printed them both at the same time, they'd have the same similar gradient and might look like it's reflected. That'd be cool looking.
That would be cool. I mean, the idea that we're trying to go for is it's definitely in the experimentation stage, but you know, it's definitely what I would love to do, but I really don't know if it's possible, would be to make it so that say the top part is blue and the bottom part is blue, but then find a way to make it go to 50% with the change and then go back to like start out with the pure colors on both ends, do a gradient change in the middle, and then go back to the pure color on the top. That would be ideal. I don't know if it's possible or not, but like Mr. Carroll's Science said, or like anybody would say, it's still a new technology, because let's face it, nobody's really come out with a mixing head machine that's commercially viable. I mean, E3D's made their Cyclops hot end, but nobody's ever really done anything with it. So I think with some later editions of Marlin, it might be doable, but we'll see.
Yes, BV3D. Calvin is still into experimentation. That's the reason why he keeps going in and out of the closet. I was going to tell him, you know, it's 2019. You really don't have to keep going in and out of the closet. You can stay out of the closet.
Or I could go in and never return.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm glad you're getting some use out of that.
For sure.
I've got an A10 and an A20 over here. I need to start getting some prints done on. I've got about 2 more prints I'm going to do with this Artillery 3D printer, and then I'm going to set it to the side and start on the A20.
Nice. Well, the other fun thing is today we got in some filament samples from Protopasta that I purchased for. I don't have any with me, but you guys might have seen photos of those little dice prison things. So what we're going to do on camera, and we might even sell them, is make it so the bottom part is one solid color, make the top part another solid color, and then do a gradient in between. We also want to do it with these guys, but they're too big for the samples potentially. But the cool thing is we got like some of the Mermaid's Tail, which is green, and the Galactic Empire, which is purple. And the idea is we would have those 2 colors in one print. I know you're colorblind.
Hey, Greg, get Greg in the house. Hey, Greg, what you doing?
Hey, Greg, did anybody tell you you're great?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you ever heard about that.
I know your colorblindness is just loving this right now, but the other one that we got was the Cupid's Crush Pink and the Glitter Flake Winter Blue. So combine those 2 together potentially in a print.
Ooh.
And then the
good time to be up in San Francisco, huh?
Oh yeah. Did you know that pink and blue are like the colors of trans people? So we're I'm just kidding. I didn't make that part up, but I'm just being a little silly in the moment. And the other cool thing is I decided, just because it looks so cool, we also got the translucent silver smoke PLA. That would look really cool into a gradient with, say, clear or something like that, because it's got this really cool smoky look to it, but it's really pretty. So I figured, why not? And then just because you can never have enough sparkle, I grabbed some of the Stardust PLA because I want to mix that in with some other colors to show how you could make your own custom, say, like, here's another thought, go from like a straight black bottom to, like, I don't know, a 50% mixture of the Stardust and the glitter, or even pure glitter on the top. So it goes from like jet black and then it mixes at the top. We'll see. I probably need to get sponsored by Protopasta or someone at this point with this project, but I'm figuring for the lack of stuff I've done with the mixing head, now is the time to just go hog wild with the mixing head and just really start experimenting with it and start showing what you can do with it. So
start experimenting and print all the sparkles.
Oh my gosh, I just love sparkly stuff. I just can't stand it. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. BV3 is asking how the Sidewinder is working. The Sidewinder is working great. I've got an issue, which I think I figured out my issue is because I think I wore the nozzle out. Here's the reason why. This was a 34-hour print for that nozzle with glow-in-the-dark PLA.
Can you say blown out nozzle?
Yeah. So then my next print was this one, which inside looks pretty good, except for as it starts to turn right there, as it's starting to turn toward the back side. Let's get a little bit of a layer line to it. But on the back of it, you can see the lines like crazy. But check this out. As you turn it around, you don't see the lines in the front of it as much across the same part, which is the same layer. But as you go over here, you start seeing the lines. So I'm thinking that the nozzle got wore out more on one side than the other.
It's a possibility. The other thought is it could just be the retraction location.
Yeah. But I got the same exact model printing right now just to see.
Here's a really good example that might or might not show up on camera, but this is a little rail car that I did on the A10M. This is just a prototype, so it didn't need to turn out the best, but this side turned out really good. But I told Simplify 3D to do all the retractions in one spot. So on this side, it might be kind of hard to tell, but it's a lot rougher because it was doing all the wiping and the retracting and everything like that in one spot. So that could also be the issue, because it was everything else on this printed up just absolutely superb. And the plan is, I have one that's got actual like wood siding modeled on it. So the plan is these are actually going to be probably printed on the Moai, but I just wanted to have something to double check the scaling of it, make sure I actually liked it before I dedicated 4 to 6 hours of my time tomorrow to do that. So I think that could also be an issue. Is just where the slicer decided it wanted to do stuff on. But I do agree. I think running 34 hours worth of glow in the dark through a brass nozzle is not going to do it much good.
Of course, then I printed this. That's Groot next to my head.
Either you have a small head or it's a big Groot.
It's a big Groot.
It's a big Groot.
Yeah, this is that AMZ 3D wood.
Oh,
see,
man.
you can see layer lines on it too. Look on the back of its head. But as you start looking more toward the front, you don't see it as much. But you just turn around toward the back, and there it is.
Still looks cool though. I mean,
yeah.
I got to put it this way. That thing is sick.
I'm going to see if my friend Josh can take and stain them or paint them up.
Dude, that would be sick.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's enough of it printing yet where I can see. Of course, this was printed at 0.1 layer height, so I'm wondering if that might have been part of it. Maybe with
I know when you're printing
hot end, it doesn't like it.
I think like I told you, I think it's partly the Volcano hot end was never designed. I mean, it can do, I would say when I say it can do average quality detail prints, it's not that it can't. It's just the Volcano with that really, really long hot end is designed to melt a lot of filament at a fast rate. So you can slap a big old nozzle on there and just start chugging filament out. When you start to get into lower height prints, you actually you don't want the filament to be as fluid or it'll start to overflow. So you could probably get around that by just dropping the temperature 5 to 10 degrees C. But I do think, though, that 34 hours of glow in the dark followed by wood probably did not help that poor brass nozzle. Because even if it just got enlarged to say 0.45 millimeters or 0.425, you don't know if the wear is going to be consistent or if it's going to be kind of like I don't know how to say it. So instead of being a round nozzle, it kind of becomes oval shaped or one side's more jagged than the other. There's a lot of stuff that plays into that. So I think it's just a case of 34 hours of glow did its thing, but you did upgrade it to a better nozzle. So print all the glow stuff.
3D printing noob saying not sticking to build plate. I guess he's having something not sticking to the build plate. Yeah, it's moving. Here. This is going to be the most amazing trick you'll ever try. Okay, you go to your local Walmart, Dollar Tree, drugstore, wherever's close by, and pick up some of that right there. Be the best dollar you ever spent, right there. It's the washable school glue by Elmer's. It goes on purple. It dries clear. When you're tired of it, you take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a rag, or you take water and put on there, let it soak for a little bit, wipe it right off your bed, and reapply it whenever you want to. In between prints, if you're going to be doing a lot of printing with the glue, just take some rubbing alcohol, pour it on your bed, rub it around a little bit, let it dry, and it rejuvenates the glue. And you just keep on printing on it.
For me, with the A10M and the Ultimaker 2, because they have their own engineered print surfaces, I just use a spray bottle this is like a mixture at this point of denatured alcohol and like 50 to 75% rubbing alcohol. But the point is, I like keeping it in a spray bottle because I can just come along and go pss, 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 and then hit it down really fast with a paper towel every few prints. And it works really good because most of the time when I'm taking big prints off like this, I can just pick it up off the bed and I'm not even touching the bed, so I'm not getting any oil on it. So I can go a couple of prints before I'll just take 2 seconds and wipe it down. But I definitely recommend, even if it's just like a small little eyeglass sprayer, keep some alcohol and label it as such next to your machine. It just like spritz the bed down and wipe it down with a paper towel and you're done. It seriously improves your print quality, regardless of what you're printing on, PEI, build tack, magical print surfaces. I don't care. It does help because oil and crap will get on there eventually.
Aaron is saying, might need to check my belt. Yeah, I'll check it. But first I want to try this and see if that changes it. If it doesn't, then I'll try the belt.
Yeah,
But
I vote it's the
to start-
nozzle.
just wanted to start with a baseline just to see if anything changes just by changing the nozzle.
Yeah, TK, I have a problem actually with removing prints from ColorFab's engine from BuildTak, but I believe it's because it's PETG based, and that is notorious for welding itself to BuildTak. Although it actually sticks really nice to the super plate surface on the A10M. Heat it up to 80, sticks nice. Once it cools to about 60, you can just go and pick it right off without having to like pry it up and then break your print. And it's actually really nice, but it's a known issue with BuildTak that PETG will weld itself to it. Same with nylon on glass or even PETG on glass. It just like sticks to it.
What's this? Greg's going to be glowing in the dark on Saturday? What in the world?
I think you got some radioactive isotopes or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So 3D Printing Noob saying, I guess the prints are moving on both of his printers. Okay, here's Calvin's very fast diagnostics for your printer. Number 1, clean the bed. Number 2,
Clean the bed.
double check your first layer height is correct, because if it's too far away or too close, that'll cause issues. Number 3, double check your belts and stuff are not like, just double check there's nothing like demonstratively loose on the machine from what you normally know. So it's like if you go to move, say, the x-axis and the thing's just flopping around, that could be a problem. And lastly, double check your rapid speeds, because I know that my Ultimaker will easily rapid at 150 millimeters a second and not even care. I was trying to run like 80 millimeters a second rapids on the A10M and was having layer shifting issues, and GTEC goes drop it to 70. So I dropped it to 60 to be safe, and no problems after that. So that's my 2 cents. So
like Jay. Right, Jay. I give my 2 cents, right, Jay. I had to do it. I had to.
that was great. Now
Yeah,
I get it. Now I get it.
Did you see Joel's video talking about accidentally clipping the tip of the brass nozzle? I was actually watching that this morning as I was getting ready for work. I saw it, and I thought to myself, well, it's a good thing I already ordered that nozzle. Because that was like my first thought whenever this started happening. I'm like, I think I wore the nozzle out. I never thought about clipping my nozzle off, though. I never even thought about using the nippers to nip at my nozzle.
Honestly, I'm 50-50 on that one. I just think it was a bad nozzle that was put on the machine in the first place.
That's
compounded probably by just printing who knows what. And let's just put it this way. Things slip through quality control. I mean, I'm just going to vote it was a bad nozzle from the start. I could see how that could happen over time if you did that like day in and day out on your nozzle, but I don't think just going and chopping the end off is necessarily doable. You're probably going to destroy your flush cutters before you actually cut the end of the nozzle off.
What is the melting point of brass?
Let me look that up. I don't think it's anywhere near what you're printing at.
No, I don't think it is either.
Or even the softening point.
I'm guessing 500 or 600 degrees Celsius is what I'm guessing.
So let's see. Give me a sec. I'm trying to find it. I know
if you take one of those little drill bits and to clean your nozzle, that's of course going to widen it out.
Yeah.
Also,
okay.
If you are putting like the piano wire and stuff like that up in there, you get by with it for so long, but over time it will start to kind of erode the tip of it.
Yeah. Well, here's what I found. Brass has what's considered a relatively low melting point of 900 to 940 degrees Celsius or 1650 to 1720, depending upon the composition of the material for brass. So I don't even think if you crank the thing to 500 degrees Celsius, you're going to be in any kind of danger zone or anything like that. You have to probably get the thing to about 1,000 degrees before it starts to do stuff, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I've brazed with brass before in a pinch, and it takes a fair bit of heat to actually get it to do anything.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to say though, I do have to say, when it comes to nozzle cleaning, those little acupuncture needle things that they include with like the A10M, with the G-Tech machines, those things are seriously a lifesaver for just getting in there and breaking up a clog to the point that you can at least get filament to flow. Sometimes you have to do that a couple of times, but I need to order some up off Amazon because I lost the one that came with my printer. But those things are seriously, along with nylon filament, are like gold for cleaning nozzles.
Eddie's right. Brass is softer than side cutters. He's exactly right.
True, but what I'm saying is the way that Joel was making it sound like was that Sean actually like clipped the whole end off the bottom, and I kind of.
I mean, you could theoretically not so. I don't think so much clip it, but I think by scratching it could cause an issue.
Fair. I mean, let's put it this way: we'll never know the cause. It doesn't bother me. No. It is what it is.
That's the good thing about nozzles. They're not that expensive. Well, unless you get a Micro Swiss. I like Micro Swiss. I just like that. I like the Micro Swiss because of it being a coated nozzle, or that way, if I do print with some abrasive filament, who cares? You know, it's not going to wear it out overnight, but at the same time, it will wear it out eventually. Right. Unlike that nozzle that Josh got for his A10. I don't know if I told you about that.
Yeah, the hardened steel.
Yeah, he got a hardened steel nozzle, and that thing, the way he talks is that thing's really made a huge difference in the print quality of that machine.
Oh, I'll bet. Well, the other thing is just the machining quality on it as well. If it's got a really rough surface texture, that's going to cause a ton of issues because the filament's going to start to dig into the openings and it's not going to flow right, which is why I really like the coated nozzles because they're so smooth. I find that just in general, you seem to get slightly better print quality because instead of the filament kind of getting stuck on surfaces, it just tends to just fall right through, if you know what I mean. Makes it more of a smooth flow coming out of the nozzle versus a lot of areas for things to theoretically get caught. And I also notice that you don't get as much buildup on the end of the nozzle just because it tends to be smoother and it just wipes right off.
They used Loctite on a Dremel 3D printer. Oh my goodness.
That's ridiculous.
Well, they want to make sure you don't do anything with their printer, that's for sure.
Although the irony is when you heat the Loctite up, it pretty much negates it. 3D Noob, what style of nozzle do you need so I can link you to the specific one?
What's that?
Oh, 3D Printing Noob was asking, do you have links to good nozzles? And I was saying, well, what style do you use so I can link him directly to that? Is an M6, an M8, some funky one? I don't know.
Yeah, I used to always use the M8s. Just like Aaron was saying, he has a lot of the 0.4 nozzles. Don't have to worry for him that much. Yeah, I mean, I used to be of the thought of why spend the money on a better nozzle? Why not just buy a whole bunch of cheap ones? And I used to do that until one time I ordered 0.4 nozzles and they sent me 0.3 nozzles. And it's like, okay, now I'm to the point where I'm getting them so cheap that they don't even know what size they're sending. And what's funny is they're marked 0.4, but whenever you would print with them, they would under extrude. And you could just tell by the way it was coming out, it wasn't a 0.4. So finally, that's when I thought, well, let me just try one Micro Swiss. I got a Micro Swiss. And after I got that nozzle, I didn't have as many clogs. I didn't have near as many issues with failed prints. So that's when I just decided that every time I wore out a nozzle, I just get a Micro Swiss.
I got a Micro Swiss a long time ago, and eventually I think I just had a really nasty clog or it wore itself out, and it finally got relegated to the bin of dead nozzles called the trash can. But right now, I don't even have a hardened nozzle on the Ultimaker. I think I might go back eventually and buy another one. But the reality is, I don't really run anything other than straight PLA in the machine anymore, or anything that's abrasive. So it's kind of like, whatever. But and I do also tend to run a 0.3 nozzle over a 0.4 just for getting details and stuff. But oh well, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, I do agree though. Good nozzles make like all the difference in the world with your printer. It's kind of like putting cheap gas in your car that sat in the tank at the gas station for 3 months, or putting fresh gas in your car that's just from the refinery. It both will burn and both will make your car go. It's just one will burn better and be probably a little more efficient than the other.
Yeah. Then you got the Ruby Olson, which is like, why?
I Ashley was actually from Chip Builds was asking me about that. She goes, "Why the heck would people even spend $80 to $120 on a nozzle?" I'm like, honestly, if let's say your company only prints in carbon fiber or glass reinforced nylon or PETG or something ridiculously abrasive like that, then you could, and you're charging, $1,000 plus a print or something, then you could definitely justify a nozzle of that quality because of the material you're working with. But I'm like, for your average Joe, it's just like, why? I can buy a couple of rolls of filament for that much for what it costs, or get a bunch of micro Swisses. So, they have their place, but unless you're doing a ton of abrasive filament to the point where you're just blowing through even hardened steel nozzles wrong, it's stupid. I mean, I'm not saying if somebody didn't send me a Ruby nozzle, I wouldn't use it, but like TK said, if you drop it wrong, it's toast. Yeah. I mean, I can even imagine, say you accidentally crash the thing into like a clip on your bed, or you accidentally crash it into your, into your thing, you're toast. I'm just like, no thanks. I'm not even gonna mess with that. It's not worth my time and my money.
Kind of suck.
But I thought they were supposed to be like amazing, Eddie. Come on, they're the $80 freaking Ruby nozzles. I mean, shouldn't they
when
just
I heard
like
the
work?
price, I just cringed. It's like, there's no way. That's, oh my god, that just $80 for a nozzle. Just, I feel the same way about an $80 nozzle as I do about $150 slicer. I'm sure.
You know what I'm going to say? I got my money's worth.
But I don't need it.
You know what? I got my money's worth out of Simplify 3D years ago, so I'm happy. But I do understand why a lot of people are kind of like about it. So I get it. I don't really hold any cares either way. At the end of the day, I look at it as it's your money. Use it how you want. I might judge you if you make a stupid decision, but I'm not going to hate you. What?
I said, okay, JG Wentworth. It's your money. You see those commercials?
Oh, dude, I've seen way too many of them. No, I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it this way. Everybody values things differently. So what's valuable to you isn't valuable to me, but I'm not going to hate on somebody for it either. So
I don't hate on for it. It's just not for me. I would rather put the money into filament. I'd rather put the money into other things other than a nozzle or into a slicer.
No, it's fair.
I mean, like in today's world, you can actually buy a 3D printer for the price of a slicer.
I know, it's almost scary. But Mr. Carroll Science says if the nozzle lasts forever and you pay $15 per nozzle, it would be worth it over time if you pay over $1,000 for a printer. Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I mean, the reason why I bought Simplify 3D years and years and years ago is because I was doing a lot of prints for 3D Hubs at the time, and I needed that custom support. And I knew that Simplify 3D could do a better job of supports at the time than Cura, because there were lots of times where Cura was putting supports where I didn't want it. I was doing a really, really intensive support print, and actually having Simplify 3D was worth it. So I definitely earned my money's. I definitely earned my $150 back in paid print jobs with it. So it definitely came in handy. But at the same time, it was like, I can totally understand for your average hobby person, though, it's kind of hard to justify, especially at this point. So it's a case of I bought it a long time ago, it did its job, but I'm 50-50 on if I had to go back and buy it again, if I would do it or not.
Okay, so how much is the E3D X nozzle?
Do not know. It hasn't even been released yet. Let me look it up. Yeah, TK, the supports. That's the reason why I got it, was for the supports.
E3D Nozzle X. Phyllis Struder has it for $29.99. That's not horrible. What exactly?
Well, I'm looking up this. I'm looking up the specs on it because that's what I'm really curious about.
Volcano is unavailable. V6 is available.
So from what I'm reading,
Volcano in a 0.4 is available for $29.99. That's not bad. What is it made out of, though?
it's a hardened steel core with a nickel plating, and then they're calling it a WS2 polyphobic nano coating. I almost wonder if it's a nil for a nickel Teflon coating, but
Yeah. That would not actually. I would not be against trying that.
Ditto. So what they say is the nozzle. Give me a minute. You can keep talking, and I'll interject when I find something.
Too. I'm trying to figure out what in the world. With a coating like that, the reason why I've heard about that coating is because I used to be into the AR-15s.
Yeah.
They a lot of the high end ones would actually have a coating like that in order to repel any dust and debris that way. So if you use that on a nozzle, theoretically you wouldn't have to worry about any of the filament rolling back onto it and sticking up to it like this, you know.
Well, one thing I will say MakerBot did get right with the old Thingomatic Hotend, which otherwise was a piece of garbage, is they actually had Nil4, which is a electroless nickel impregnated with Teflon coating. So the outside and the inside of that nozzle were super slick. Obviously, you had an upper temperature limit because of the Teflon, but it gave you a really, really nice, slick surface that really actually helped prevent junk from sticking to it. So that was interesting.
Mr. Kara Science, Jimmy is a gun lover. I like you more every day. Oh, if you only knew.
I have yet to see the gun safe, but I have visions of like this underground thing that opens up and it's like Chuck Norris lives in there. Oh, it sounds fun.
Yeah, I gotta take you over to Laguna Seca sometime.
Dude, I haven't shot a gun in so long. What?
Have you ever went shooting before?
Yeah, I have. With an old coworker back when I worked at the school. That was really fun. And it's definitely one of those things that I tell people, even if you aren't a gun fanatic, at least knowing what a gun sounds like and knowing how to at least set the safety on a gun and knowing if somebody has the safety on or off, or even if their trigger is on or off the finger, your finger's on or off it, is a very, very, very important skill to be able to realize, because so many people mistake fireworks and backfires for gunshots, one, and two, nobody ever realizes that if this is the trigger and their finger's not even touching it, they can't shoot. If the safety is on, they can't shoot. So little things like that can make a big difference when somebody has something to go, oh, he's bluffing, or oh, he's serious. You know, it's still a very dangerous situation, but if you know that, you can very quickly then make a better judgment call as to what your next plan of action will be. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. That was my 5 seconds of talking.
Bob says, let's see, where's it? Where did I see it? Oh, no, Aaron says if we ever go to Missouri, you'll take a skeet shooting. I've got the perfect shotgun to do that. I got a semi-automatic 12 gauge. I love that thing.
Yet to shoot one, but man, that sounds like fun.
Oh, I took my my stepdaughter out to Laguna Seca a while back. This has been a few years ago, and she had never shot a shotgun before. And that thing kicks. It has got a good kick to it, but it's the nice thing is being semi-automatic. It kind of is a little bit softer than if you just have a single shot, just full blast on your shoulder.
So I figured out what the coding is. It's WS2, which is tungsten disulfide.
Bob's got a shotgun that holds 25 shells. You've got the sneaking beta mag for a shotgun. Oh man, that is nice. I'm in California. So I only wish I had a beta mag.
you wish you owned a gun in California, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, goodness, it's to that point.
No. So I found out the coating on the nozzle. It is WS2, which is tungsten disulfide, which has a thickness of ridiculously thin. I'll link you guys to the page I'm looking at. It's good up to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's
an X-rail, dude. You don't even know what an X-rail is. Never mind. So it's where it's made for, I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's made for a pump shotgun. It fits on the front of it, and you load it all up. And so as you're doing it, it turns, and it just, you fire like 3 or 4 shots, and it turns, 3 or 4 shots, and it turns, and it just keeps reloading the shells into it. Those things are insane. They're cool.
So here's the cool thing about the coating, though, is I guess it can resist carbon buildup due to its extremely low coefficient of friction, which is less than half a graphite or molybdenum disulfide in Teflon. So that theoretically would mean that you might actually be able to print things that are somewhat nasty, like wood fill, with potentially less risk of it burning in there. Or if you did have a clog, it would probably be easier to clean out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'll have to wait until they get out, but that Nozzle X is actually really interesting. So I'm glad I haven't ordered anything, but that's seriously, that's something to consider.
Red's taking off. Thank you for joining. Take care.
Have a good one, Red Light. But I mean, I'm not hating on Micro Swiss. I'll have to see what the price point ends up being, but that's really tempting.
Yeah, that is.
I'm just surprised. I mean, and it could be for other reasons why nobody's done it yet, but I'm surprised that it's actually taken people this long to realize that there's all these industrial coatings that you can put on nozzles or even into hot end components to make them last a whole heck of a lot longer than they normally would.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would love to see would actually be a heat break that is, if it's possible to do it, that's actually coated in this material, because I feel like if the heat break is also more wear resistant, as I've always wondered if the heat break over time will actually start to become oval shaped or worn out just from abrasive filament rubbing against it all the time, wouldn't be a bad thing. Just saying, especially for that point where you got the interface between the heat break and the nozzle that gets really hot, so you still got somewhat molten filament in there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, I guess I kind of look at it as if glass filled and just overall nasty materials are becoming more of a thing now, I really want to see companies start to come up with stuff that's going to take over and fill in that void of, now the heat break's going to become a weak spot, so let's go from there. So we'll see.
I think I'm going to try printing that model again at 0.2 layer height next time.
What's that, 3D Gessner? Signing in from Belgium.
Seeing near as many lines as what I'm seeing on this one. So far, it's looking a little bit better. Belgium, 6 a.m.? My goodness.
True super fan right there, y'all.
I wonder if Daniel Noray's up yet.
He's probably flying down ski slopes or something like that right now.
Probably. My goodness.
So did you guys see the light ring that I still need to test out and see if it works or not, but it might just work, that I whipped up before I left for class today? It's pretty simple. Let me see if I got the camera around here. Yeah, I do. So being that lighting in my room is kind of bad, I literally just came up with this real quick print that allows me to take one of these ring lights, pop it onto my GoPro, and then I'll power it up independently. But hopefully this will allow me to film maybe even time lapses as well without having to drag out a bunch of external lighting, because I left my big old filming light at my parents because A, I didn't have space in the car, and B, I wasn't really using it. So I figured,
show it lit up. Let's see it.
Let me grab a battery real quick that's actually got some juice in it. Oh, I got one right here.
And juice?
That should. It was powering the monitor the other day. So while I'm doing that, Mr. Carroll Science says, installing my new build tack as we chat. Any tips for the first print? Use cardstock or even cardboard to set your first layer height. That needs to be way higher than you normally print.
Or
so
2 pieces of paper.
I use cardstock.
He doesn't have cardstock. He just has a piece of typing paper. Just
Well, then use 2 pieces of typing paper.
Huh?
Then use 2 pieces of typing paper.
Can't be eco-friendly. You got to fold it over.
And don't squash the paper either. Like, if in doubt, leave your first layer higher than you think it needs to be, because things will stick to build tack way better than you thought.
Oh, yeah. And definitely get you a spatula. They are a lifesaver.
Oh, yeah. 1 second, let me grab a battery. Oh, there's a battery that works around here. I promise it was working earlier.
Uh-oh. It's not going to work on camera, is it?
We'll find out. I'm doing Jimmy Shaw's Tidbits wiring here. I'm literally just like holding things up and praying it works.
I just plug it straight into the wall socket.
This is not 120 volt light.
When did we do that?
That was when we had the giant printer over, the form bot, the fire hazard bot, and we decided it would be a great idea to power up the 120 volt heated bed by literally plugging it into the wall and making like the whole room buzz.
Craig's back in. So tell us about glowing. What's going on, man?
Okay, so it is actually turning on. It's just this is not running at 12 volts, so it doesn't really want to work. I'll kill the light real quick, but that is how the ring light works. It's just not very bright because it's not hooked up to a 12 volt source, but it does work.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's actually extremely, extremely bright when it runs normally. So I might order up from Amazon an LED dimmer just so I can run that in line with the power source so I can dial the light in as necessary, because I think it's too bright and it would blow things out right now.
Thank you, Eddie. Coffee fee on me. Thank you very much. Definitely will get some coffee fee.
Or maybe a couple of Diet Cokes, because, you know, that's what Jimmy loves is Diet Cokes. Or maybe a Hangry Hash over at Jack in the Box.
I totally go down on Diet Coke.
Jimmy Shaw's Tidbits. Drinking Diet Coke.
Since I can't have sugar anymore, now I just have to go for the caffeine.
Yeah, it's sad.
Glow-in-the-dark filament for the first time. Any tips on infill versus perimeters, stuff like that? The infill, you'll definitely see through it. So if you can go hollow, go hollow. Perimeters, I would say go at a minimum of 2, maybe 3 perimeters.
I would personally say do 3 perimeters. The idea is you want it to be thick, so there's a lot of material there to capture the light and glow. So I would say 3 perimeters, and that should hide infill at that point.
This is 2 perimeters, and you can see it's got kind of a iridescent glow to it, even though it's just the glow-in-dark PLA. It's got kind of like almost like a white pearl kind of look to it, doesn't it?
It does.
And of course, when you turn the lights off, it glows like crazy. And if you have a black light, it's even more fun.
So how long till you're going to put the whatchamacallit inside the flickering heart thing?
Yeah, I need to figure out a way of getting that in there. Actually, I need to model up the actual heart thing I'm wanting to put that into. I need to get that modeled and printed up here in the next week or so.
That would be sick.
Because I need to get that done before. Where did I do with it? Where did I put it? Oh, it's down there. Oh, knock the table over. There it is. Let's see if it still works. Oh yeah, still working.
Oh yeah.
I just can't see it with the light now, but that was really cool when we did that in the dark.
Oh yeah. That was fun. Bear with me right now. My whatchamacallit, my Amazon account's being a pain, won't let me log in.
Uh-oh. Were you trying to do some spamming on here? You trying to put some of your affiliate links on here or what?
Yeah, something like that. No, I had an issue earlier with it, and then I was good, but I don't know. Sometimes it's being a pain.
The CNC
There we go.
CNC Kitchen Smart Info Video. Awesome way to make FDM parts stronger. You know, I just discovered that channel this morning. It's ironic that you mentioned it. I just discovered that channel this morning.
So what did they do? Because I think I've heard of it. Isn't it like they just do like concentric infill 100% or something?
I'm not sure. Well, when I was watching, I was trying to figure out exactly how a volcano hot end is set up, and they had it on there.
Got it.
I didn't know how a volcano hot end was set up. I don't know anything about all this stuff.
Tom's 3DP did a video on it eons ago.
YouTube videos all the time.
That's the problem with being a YouTuber yourself, is there's no time to watch anybody else's stuff, which is a bummer.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I won't lie, but I would lie if I said all the videos I watched were on 3D printing. For the most part, I watch like you name it. My absolute favorite ones to watch are actually the Hodge twins.
We also know your other guilty pleasure is watching Bitwit.
Bitwit. I watch all those. I have Jay's 2 cents. Every time one of his videos comes up, I'm one of the first ones to watch it usually.
Even though I'm not a total tech person, just so I can kind of keep up with stuff, I like watching Jay's 2 cents and Linus Tech Tips. Although I will say, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Jay for his, battle back and forth with Steve over the computing power thing, but that gets a little bit old because I miss more of like his computer builds, like with his kids or for Post Malone or Terry Crews and whatnot. I get it. He's kind of riding what's the popular trend right now, but I'm definitely more of a fan of the older project videos and whatnot. But you know what? To each their own. I know some people probably enjoy my model train videos and some people could care less about my model train videos. You know what? Everybody's going to do what they like to do. And at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Oh, yeah. I like watching all kinds of stuff. I do watch some 3D printing stuff. Like I've got my favorite 3D printing channels I usually watch. Joel and Chuck and Angus and Tom.
Not me.
I watch yours. I do.
I know.
Usually every time the notification comes up, I watch yours first. I'm always one of the first guys to hit like because usually nobody else has hit like yet.
That boosts my ego so much you don't know. My ego just keeps going.
By the way, where are you at now on your viewers on your for your view
watch time? I've been tagging the living crap out of things like you told me to do, and
it's helping, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I'll put it this way. It's partly, I think, just because it is a printer video. It got a lot of views, but I'm up to 51 views on my Simplify 3D video, and I'm up to 125 on the A10M initial impressions, and I'm hoping I can drive more traffic. And I'm up to 116 on the fixing the E-steps one. So I'm doing good there, but I'm hoping I can drive more traffic once I start doing like the gaming prints, because I know those are really popular. So I'm hoping that will help boost things up. But my watch time has been up and down recently, and I've wanted to try and push for 2 videos a week, but I just haven't been able to. So I've dropped back down to 3,244. So I need about 750 more watch hours to get remonetized.
Man.
Yeah, because it keeps going up and down and up and down and up and down. Now, mind you, for a while there, I was cheating the system by having my old phone running on Wi-Fi in the background playing stuff, but that was kind of, being that the Wi-Fi here can be a bit in and out, it just kind of was like, whatever. So I'm just hoping, though, I am hoping in the next week or two, I'll have some time to actually do a couple of actually like project live streams where I've got like a model train kit. So off camera, I'll go ahead and I'll prep the parts and I'll paint them, but then I'll actually like be assembling it on live stream. So if people want to come on in and check that out, or I'm hoping if I'm doing some designing stuff, maybe for school or something, and I'm at home or I'm even over at school, it might not have any audio, but I can just
Calvin, I have a crazy idea. Just the idea of make a video shirtless and shave your head. Here's what it would look like. Hi. Wait a minute. I need some blown out light here. Where's the...
No, but I am hoping to have some upcoming live streams of showing me designing stuff or maybe working on projects and things like that. And I don't want to just, seem like I'm churning that out just to drive traffic for watch time. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I feel like one video a week is not enough. And what I'm thinking I might end up doing is, through my Patreon page, is release a video there 24 hours before it goes live. So I'm going to have like a midweek preview of an upcoming project, like 1 to 3 minutes in length. So that way people can get an idea of what's coming up and then go from there. But we'll see if I end up doing that. I really do want to try and do an actual midweek video besides streaming, but I'll have to see what my schedule allows for that, because rant incoming shortly, but I'll explain why things have been such a mess with school right now, and it's really frustrating.
Let's start doing like Scott Manley. Scott Manley here. Just start talking while you're walking down the street, Start talking about SpaceX and stuff like that.
So you're saying my 15-minute drives to school, 20-minute drives to school, I should set my phone up and do live streaming of me just complaining about how I hate the program and how the school can't get anything done right, and then just call them Rants with Calvin for 4 days out of the week? Yeah, I'm good.
Call it Calvin. Call it Calvin Rants.
Okay, I do have.
This is my weekly ranting series.
Okay, I do actually, and this is actually an issue that happened to like about 25 people at the school, and it's actually really, really frustrating. So I'm going to explain it in a nutshell, but this is not an isolated incident right now, and it's really annoying. What happened is, the way things were scheduled, I needed to take, as part of my education things, a SolidWorks class, because it also covered doing renderings and things like that. And I've got some SolidWorks experience in the past. I have a ton of Fusion 360 experience, but I don't really have much rendering experience because my old computer could barely crank out videos, let alone even think about doing rendering. So I just never did that because it's very computing intensive. Well, the thing is, I signed up for the SolidWorks class thinking that it was going to be Monday, Wednesdays from 3:30 to 6:15. It was perfect because I had about a 3-hour gap between my design process 1 class from like 9:30 to like 12 something in the morning. So I was like, perfect, this works great. Well, then I get into the class, and then it turns out that it was supposed to be scheduled for a 6:30 to 9:15 Monday and Wednesday nights, but the computer somehow told them it was 3:30 to 6:15. How nobody noticed that, I have absolutely no clue, but people in the class were all incensed that the school managed to pull that off. And what really annoyed me was the instructor meant really well when he did this. He asked people, would you rather it be a Monday, Wednesday night class, or would you rather it be a Tuesday, Thursday night class? Because if it was Monday, Wednesday, it conflicted with a class that a lot of people were in, like rapid prototyping. But the problem is, and everybody says, oh, we want the class on Tuesday, Thursday, which I really didn't want because I only have like a Photoshop and Illustrator class in the morning on Tuesday, Thursday. So I was like, cool, I'll be done by like 2 or 3 in the afternoon and I'm done for the day on Thursdays. Well, now I'm done at like 9 o'clock on Thursdays, which isn't the end of the world, but it was frustrating because then everybody who voted for Tuesday, Thursday then goes, oh, I have to do the class online. I can't show up. And I'm just like, all of us who have to be there are like, are you kidding me? You mean you wanted the class moved, but you can't even show up for like, except for like 1 or 2 things when we have to do a presentation? I mean, those of us who wanted Monday, Wednesday are still like beyond irritated at people for it. If I was the instructor, honestly, what I would have done is I would have said, well, you know what? This sucks, but the schedule was supposed to be this time slot on this day. We're moving it to that. If it doesn't work, sorry, but there's not much you can do because there's no ideal solution because some people it conflicts for them on Tuesday, Thursdays, and they're forced to take it online because of that. And some people it conflicted on Monday, Wednesdays. But I still feel like if I was the instructor, I would have been like, okay, executive decision. It was supposed to be at this time slot. We're doing it at this time slot. I'll give you an online option. If there's any conflicts, I will personally email your instructor. We will work out something and we're going to leave it at that. That's what I would have done because I'm only annoyed that it's moved to Tuesday, Thursdays now because then that threw my schedule off, that threw other people's schedule off. And I partly still blame the design department for not noticing over the month and a half that we had for break. Somehow they never noticed that was messed up in the system because their system showed it as one way. The scheduling system showed it as another. So how the two never got linked together, nobody knows, but it's just frustrating. I mean, and I feel for the instructor because the poor guy had to literally take an emergency day off work because the day of the class is when he realized that's when it was scheduled wrong. And the dude works like a full-time job during the day. So it's just like, oh my gosh, it's bad. It's really frustrating on multiple levels. Partly the school's in, but I really feel bad for the instructor who's actually a really, really cool guy. I got to talk to him a little bit after class. I think he's from Brazil or somewhere in South America, early 30s, really like pumped up, energetic, wants to teach people. I'm like, this guy's going to be fun. So at least he's cool, but I felt bad for him on all of it because nobody wins, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, that's really sucks.
You know, it doesn't benefit anybody in the long run. I mean, I respect the instructor for being gracious enough to give people the option to choose, but I kind of feel like that made its own set of issues. And at the end of the day, nobody was going to win. But I kind of feel like it made a bad situation worse. But, oh, well.
Craig says, remember to hit that like icon and show your support, like you said, or else I'm coming for you. Man, Greg. Man, thank you. You got to remember, too, he's in New York, isn't he? Yeah, you don't mess with Greg the Great.
No, you don't mess with New Yorkers, or you end up tied underneath like an L train or something. So 3D Gessner says, call IT support. Hello, did you turn it on? on again.
Hey,
I kind of
all things can be fixed by turning it off and turning it back on again.
Okay, sometimes it does actually work, but I kind of wish I could do that to the people in the office, like turn their brain off, reset their brain, and go, hi. Are we back on Earth again? Okay, cool. I mean,
that's usually the part about calling the help desk. Help desk always say, hello, thank you for calling help desk. How may I be helping you today? I'm like, register went down and we can't get to come back up. It's not connected to the Ethernet and this and that. Okay, first you must unplug the Ethernet and blow on it. Now plug it back in. Now turn off the register. Okay, it's turned off. Now you must wait 1 minute. How's the weather there? Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden it's like, okay, it's been 1 minute. Turn it back on. Is it connected? Yes, it is. Okay, your help ticket is being closed. Thank you for calling help desk. Have a nice day. Yeah, but what caused it? Just hang up.
So I stand corrected. Chris actually did show that you could theoretically snip the end of a nozzle off. So I stand corrected. It is actually possible with a brass nozzle. So how it happened, we won't know, but I just wanted to make that correction in there before the stream was over after figuring that out.
You mean you were wrong? Are you going to do a public apology right now? Joel, I apologize that I thought you were wrong.
Mr. Telling, I really hate to admit this, but I was actually wrong, and I'm really sorry. So I really hope you accept this apology. You know, it's like it's really heartfelt. You know, and Mountain Dew Baja Blast is better than Red Bull. So yeah, I'm sorry. Have a nice day, Joel.
This one time, I thought I was wrong, but it turns out I was mistaken. Uh-oh. Am I in trouble or what?
Your wife is calling. She wants you to bring baby Groot to the house.
It's Rudy.
Oh, jeez.
What are you doing? You eating your microphone or what over there?
It's a late night.
You gotta get the little one. Watch that be the screen cap. You watch. Stinking YouTube. You watch. I'll be the screen cap.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, where's Theresa when you need her? She's probably over there watching our friend.
Angus?
Angus? She doesn't watch Angus. She watches Rosman.
Oh, yeah, him.
She's a mod on there now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's getting up in the world now. Before you know it, she'll be working over there.
That'd be cool.
Did you see the one yesterday with all the eggs and stuff on the board from stinking cockroaches? There's a dead cockroach in there too.
That is just nasty, dude.
After he apologizes, he gives him an expired gift card to a store that no longer exists.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
That is savage New Yorker right there.
By the way, Greg, how's the weather back there? Has the cold weather hit you yet? I think it's on its way back there, if I remember right.
I have a friend who lives in Michigan, and I was looking up the weather in her town, and it was like -14 out there, and I'm like, oh heck no.
Chicago yesterday, I believe, was a negative with the wind chill. I think it was like -65 degrees. This is Fahrenheit, so it's like that's insane.
No thanks.
Nope. Dang that.
I'm good.
That's why I'm glad I went back there when I did. I didn't wait until this time of year to go back there.
Honestly, you might not have even been able to land at the airport or take off because it would have been so cold.
Yeah.
For de-icing.
And then I probably would have frozen that airport trying to find my way out of there because it took me, an hour and a half to get out of there the first time. I got lost.
Yeah, it only took me like an hour to go drive 2 laps around San Jose to pick you up.
Man.
That was ridiculous.
At least San Jose, I found my way out all right. But at that O'Hare, oh my goodness, that place is stinking huge. And you have to go underground to get to the main terminal to get out. Because there's like, the terminals are like out all the way around there. It's just insane.
I think you would cry if you see just how tiny the Pensacola Regional Airport is that I've flown into and out of when I go see my friends out in Florida. I swear it's one little jet bridge thing with 12 spots, and that's it. It's great. If you get lost getting out of there, you have issues.
Greg says to shut up. Don't even bring up the weather. It's so cold. Ouch.
Oh, man.
Well, my friend, you ready to call it?
Yeah, I got to get up early and go to Walnut Creek tomorrow. So
Go to Walnut Creek.
I have a Moai that's been missing me for about 2 months now.
I wonder if did you leave the resin in the tank?
Yeah, it should be fine. Scott was printing with it some before I got there, and I've had resin sitting in the tank. You just scrape the dye off the bottom of the vat a couple of times and you got good.
Robot maker girl got frostbite going to school. That sucks.
That's Allie from the Mythbusters Junior. I actually met her at Bay Area Maker Faire this year along with Elijah. Yeah, no, it's literally that cold out there. I think she actually came up with something, it might have been a couple years ago, to help detect if you were going to get frostbite or not.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. And we will catch you next week over on his channel.
Due to the fact that people are stupid and they decide to change class to Tuesday, Thursday, we're going to have to figure out a new streaming schedule because Fridays I'm generally gone in Walnut Creek until pretty late. So we might change the streaming schedule around. We'll let you guys know what's up with that when that time comes, though.
What day are you off from school?
I'm off. I only have class from like 9:30 till 12 on Monday, Wednesdays, and I have the rest of the day free. Tuesday, Thursdays, I'm gone all night. Fridays, generally, I'm leaving Walnut Creek anywhere between 7 to 9 o'clock. Saturdays and Sundays, I tend to keep kind of free for filming and whatnot, but we'll figure that out. So maybe do it Wednesdays. What?
Oh, shoot for Mondays? Who streams on Monday?
I don't know.
I know Wednesday we'd be fighting with Travis. And I don't want to fight with Travis.
We wouldn't get any viewership on Wednesdays. Yeah, I say we just shoot for Mondays.
Let's just shoot for Monday. I can't remember anybody streaming on Mondays.
Monday Night Madness.
Huh?
Monday Night Madness with Jimmy and Calvin.
God. Ugh. Ugh. You just lost me as a viewer.
Oh gosh, no! I was gonna say though, hopefully one of these weeks
we can really get a for an apology letter.
No, I was gonna say hopefully in the next probably after because second Saturday's work session for the train club. I'm still working on stuff up here, but hopefully about 3 weeks from now I'll be able to make it down to your place and I can hopefully get some work done on the giant printer and then also film a video with the Artillery 3D doing a couple of train prints. So that should be interesting.
By the way, what camera did you use to film your video when you were here with the A10?
Oh, which one did I use? Oh, I used your camcorder.
I knew it. I'm like, Calvin's not as skinny as usual. Oh, that's not a fisheye lens.
That thing is nice. The only problem is the battery kept saying it had like 15 minutes of life and then kept getting slower. So I'm like, one eyeball on the screen, like, is it going?
It was right down there by the tripod. I usually have it right there hanging off the tripod.
Didn't realize it. No, I was in a race to get out of there, but I'm like, I have to film the A10M video. So I just popped my own SD card into the camera, recorded it really fast, and then threw the footage on my laptop and threw it in the car and got stuck in traffic going up. But no, that thing is nice. I got to admit.
Did you render it in 60 frames per second?
I just rendered it in whatever Resolve said the native format was.
because native format's 60 frames per second.
That's what I generally film with the GoPro.
Cool.
Yeah, let me see really fast, because it'll tell me. But yeah, no, I figured, I don't think Jimmy will kill me if I use it.
So don't mind at all, man. I didn't know if you used it or if you used my cell phone. But I had a feeling.
No, I use that. It's not saying, but it probably did it at 60. I'll just assume it did.
Craig says, "Oh my god!" I just unsubbed after he said that.
Oh man,
Triggered.
All right, well, you want to go ahead and call it?
Yep, let's call it. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. We will catch you next week over on his channel, more than likely on Monday.
See you guys later.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.